I could literally visualize someone in the background, like some lady wearing like bell bottoms and like blue colored round glasses with some type of turquoise jewelry, maybe like a brown suede leather vest with fringes down there, just kind of back and forth. Tambourine was very well separated out. Let me restart this. Okay, because I really want to get this right, because I use a fancy word, replete. 2 pieces of plastic, looks like it's pressed together, and then it looks like one of the infinity stones is put on top of it at all. Keep them away from Thanos. These are the Dioko planar magnetic IEMs, a collaboration with Crinacle, a famous YouTube influencer and online writer of IEM reviews. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about whether these $100 planar magnetic IEMs are worth it. If you are new here, we are running a giveaway special, a huge extravaganza of free hi-fi equipment. When I hit 200,000 subscribers, I am going to give away, well, actually, other companies are going to give away a whole bunch of stuff. Speakers from Wharfdale, speakers from Q Acoustics, speakers from SVS, including an amplifier from SVS, turntables from U-Turn, turntables from Project, amplifiers from Fozzy Audio, streamers from Weems, streamers from Cambridge Audio, a DAC from Cambridge Audio, DACs plural from Just Shelly Labs, tube amp from Black Ice Audio, and I'm probably missing a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, Emotiva gift cards. The only thing that you have to do is fill out the Google form here, probably here. Subscribe to the channel, obviously, and follow me on Instagram at Cheap Audio Man. If you don't have Instagram or you're already subscribed, that's okay. You can still enter to win. Just fill out the Google form. And I will not tell you won in the comments. You will be getting an email with further instructions. So don't contact anybody that looks like me on WhatsApp or any of the other messaging services, because it's a big scam. They want to charge you $200 or $300 for shipping. It ain't me. I'm not going to charge you for shipping. So thank you so much for watching. Dioko. 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 Remember Dio? Metal band back in the 80s. Anyway, I was a huge fan of the 7 Hertz Timeless. Frankly, one of my favorite IEMs I've ever heard, but they had a tendency to get a little bit intense at times, so I couldn't listen to them for a long time. But they're still the IEM that I think sets the bar for clarity when it comes to planar magnetic headphones. I had some planar magnetic headphones, IEMs from Tin Hi-Fi. I thought they were pretty good. They were a little bit power hungry, but they didn't have the razor sharpness that that the 7 Hertz Timeless has. I ended up giving those away to a patron because I wasn't going to use them anymore. So I kind of regret that. Anyway, super excited. And I was also super excited about the price because the 7 Hertz Timeless come in, I think, north of $200. These Dioko come in at $99. They're built really well. They're super shiny if you're into that type of thing. Kind of looks like a children's rock that's been polished on a river bed for many years. Anyway, you can look into it. It's like looking into another dimension. What do I do in the multiverse? These also have, strangely enough, sal notes down there on the edge, down there on the bottom. I don't really know what that means, but having the treble clef, that's not a treble clef, having the note down there, not very good. I don't like that. Change your font. I don't know what sal notes is. And then up here at the left hand corner, it just says first 2022. So there you go. It's first 2022. I don't know if that's a beauty contest, maybe a dog walking contest, hula hoop contest. I don't know. Probably has something to do with IEMs or hi-fi or something. Oh my goodness, I almost spilled my coffee. Incidentally, you can get one of these fine Cheap Audio Man Rocktopus coffee mugs over at the merch connection link down at the bottom. I think like $15. I need to do some better merch because this is all like printed on demand from the YouTube partners. I mean, the coffee mug's decent, but some of the t-shirts actually kind of stink. This is a t-shirt. made from them, and look, it's all flaking off. Anyway, need to get better merch. What was I saying? Oh, it comes with this box, which is actually really cool. But again, down here we have sol notes with the, what is that, a quarter note? And I love everything about this case, except for this. So, if you're watching, go ahead and take that off next time. Kidding, I don't know. I don't know what sol notes is. It feels like there's 3 different manufacturers here. We have 7 Hertz, and then sol notes, and then Dioko, and then it's a collab with Crinacle. I don't get it. Anyway. Comes with a few different ear tips. Beaver, fur, lined case here. Very nice. Copper colored YKK zipper. I don't know if it's a YKK or not. Usually I don't get very excited about cases. This one's pretty cool though. This reminds me of like the old motorcycle jackets where you'd have like the number would be cut out and sewn into the leather jacket, like the old cafe racers or something. I like the 7. This is pretty cool. Kind of a textured thing, red stitching. Nice details on the case. Probably don't care about that though, do you? These are built fairly well. They have a decent cable here, a little Brady cable. Not too heavy though. I've seen cables that have heavier cables. I've seen cables that have heavier cables. I've seen cables that have like heavier wires, something like that. And then right there you have the sol notes again. Pretty much standard fare for an IEM. You got the little keeper thing right here. Whoop. 2-pin design, so you can spin this around if you want to, but you're only going to spin it around once. Seems like MMCX connectors aren't really a thing anymore. Seems like everything is a 2-pin. They go in there pretty tightly. So this design looks to be kind of pressed together. Then you got the little 2, I'm not really going to show you this. Anyway, there's 3 holes on the back. I assume that's some type of venting, tuning. 2 pieces of plastic, looks like it's pressed together. And then it looks like one of the infinity stones is put on top of it at all. Keep them away from Thanos. And that's about it. Comes with some ear tips. I think there's one set of spin fits in there. Anyway, not bad. $99. Pretty decent. Let's talk about how they sound. I listened to Korn, The Path of Totality, which is a pretty cool album. I know if you're like a very traditional Korn fan, you may not like that album because it's pretty much a dubstep album. I don't mind it at all. I actually think it's a great album. I love that album. I wish they would play more songs from that record at their live shows, but they don't. Since it's a dubstep album, there's a ton of electronica music, a ton of deep bass, a ton of digital soundstage. And I was listening to Chaos Lives in Everything, which is the first track off that record. It was really, really good. Huge space initially. At the 55-second mark when the chorus comes in, the cymbals were really overemphasized. And they sound more like white noise piped in at the right time, at the right frequency, other than an actual cymbal. Now, I thought maybe it's fake drums. Maybe it's electronic drums or something, but I don't think it was because I listened to other songs and had the same issue. Narcissistic Cannibal. I used this song. By the way, it's a great song. What track is that? Track number 4. Narcissistic Cannibal. Great track for, it's just a good song, period, but it's a great track for bass. At the 1 minute mark, it goes doo doo and goes way, way down. And it's a very easy way to hear if you have great bass extension on a speaker or on an IEM or even a headphone. I wasn't even aware that that note existed. I mean, I knew it was there, so I could lean in and I could hear it go doo doo. Just completely cut off. So the roll off, the bass extension of these, not very good. Now that's a challenging song to do well, but I had no idea that that was even there. It's not all bad news though. Into the Mystic, Van Morrison, the 2013 remaster. Incidentally, that was the song I danced to with my wife for our first ever song dance, marriage dance. Love that song. So at the 1 minute 6 second mark, he goes, and foghorn blows, and I'll be coming home. Whatever instrument comes in right at that point, it sounds like maybe some trombones or something. So a brass section comes in. It was spectacular. Completely separated out. His vocals, I wrote this down. His vocals were replete with reverb, which I've not heard in this. Let me restart this, okay? Because I really want to get this right, because I use a fancy word, replete. His vocals were replete with reverb, which I've not heard to this degree. Acoustic guitars, surgically separated, each string pluck better than the last. I was pretending like I was writing an online review. And then, tambourine in the background. So perfectly rendered, I guess you'll say, that I could literally visualize someone in the background, like some lady wearing like bell bottoms and like blue colored round glasses with some type of turquoise jewelry, maybe like a brown suede leather vest with fringes down there, just kind of back and forth. Tambourine was very well separated out. Rumors, Fleetwood Mac. The light bulb started going on with me when Into the Mystic was so good. So I went over to Fleetwood Mac. Rumors. Probably heard that album. Probably heard a bunch of songs from that album. I think one was on Forrest Gump soundtrack. Anyway, this record was equally as awesome as Van Morrison was. The chain, the harmony was otherworldly. I mean, just the cleanliness, easy for me to say, and clarity and the separation. It was Stevie Nicks, it was just doing her thing. Really, really good. And the bass drum actually on this song had a bit of punch, but it was like the tonality of the bass drum. You could really hear the pedal hitting the head. Ugh, really good. And once again, here's a theme from music of this era. A lot of tambourine usage, and the tambourine in the chain was awesome. However, cymbals, way too spicy once again. So, what are my final thoughts? All right, let's do some pros and cons. Pros, great, mid-range, clarity. Spectacular with some types of songs, maybe even some genres of music, depending upon how it was recorded and what type of instruments are going on. Larger than average soundstage. For IEMs, this gave me a very immersive experience, obviously, if it's recorded that way. Cons can be sibilant, and it also feels like there's some type of bump, maybe kind of mid part of the treble, 6 to 8K, because some stuff just comes, like initial attacks on cymbals are like so in your face. Some initial attack on other percussion is also way overly emphasized, and the tonality of the cymbals just isn't realistic, even on electronic music. Bass lacks punch, bass lacks extension, and overall I think there's a lack of dynamics on this headphone. So I did an EQ on this. I listened to this on the, where's this? I don't want to break my computer. No, sorry. Fleetwood Mac going on. I listened to this on the KN-RU7. I felt like that was a question. RU7? No, RU7 is the model number of the KN dongle DAC. Anyway, listen to that through my Mac Studio right here. Title. Good. This is a really good DAC, by the way. I haven't been able to do a full review of this, but here's the review. It's really, really good. It's fairly expensive. This is an R2R dongle DAC. You control volume right here. There's a whole bunch of different settings. Does DSD. Has single-ended or 3.5 millimeter out, and then a balanced 4.4 pentagram, penta something. Great dongle DAC. It's awesome. Lacks a little bit of power when you have it connected to a phone, but when you have it connected to a computer, it's very good. Significantly better than most dongle DACs. It's pricey, but you get what you pay for in this instance. Very natural tone. Very large soundstage too, so adding the Diokos to it was a great combination. I also listened to it on the Geshelli Labs Arco 3 Pro with one of the Geshelli DACs and the Wii Mini going into it. Point being, the takeaway, the short story is I had access to a 10-band EQ, and I did EQ these to get them to where I wanted them to be. So what I did was I boosted 30 hertz by about 6 dB, and then kind of like down to flat around 250. Also cut 1K about 1 dB, 2K about 3 or 4 dB, and then I cut kind of back up to flat around 4K, and then I cut 6 to 8K by like 10 dB. And that's a little much when you're EQing something. But even when I brought it down by 3 or 4 dB, it was still a little bit too much. So I nudged it down a little bit. 10K and above, I boosted it my regular 3 to 6 dB. That's not a fault of these IEMs though. That's a fault of my old hearing and living on a farm and serving on a submarine. At least I'd like to blame others for that. This is great for acoustic, what you would consider to be like Southern rock, maybe classic rock, Leonard Skinner, and people are going to probably murder me because these aren't all classic rock, but Van Morrison, Fleetwood Mac, Leonard Skinner, stuff like that. For something that's heavily dynamic though, for metal, for rock and roll that has boosted bass and boosted high, anything with boosted highs is not going to sound good on these unless you heavily EQ them. If you're after a lot of bass punch, these aren't going to give it to you unless you EQ them. I don't think they're bad, but you got to know going into this that this is kind of a flatter type of an IEM type of sound, and there's something going on in the treble that I don't particularly like. But other than that, they're clean, and that's what I really expect from a planar magnetic headphone. So they give me that. Not my personal choice, but it could be for you if you listen to maybe that type of music or you have access to an EQ. So if you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman every Sunday night with Patreon-only Zooms, Patreon-only Discord, Patreon-only Facebook. You can use the links in the description. Those will be affiliate links. It means if you click and buy, I get a commission. It doesn't cost you anymore, so it's a great way to support the channel. You can also sign up for Tidal Music, Amazon, Rune. You can get a free trial. Even if you quit, I get a couple of dollars. Finally, you can buy me a cup of coffee. Down at the bottom of the video, right down here, there's a thanks button. You can give me $1 or $2, but don't feel compelled to give me anything. And finally, you can just like this video and subscribe if you made it this far. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Maybe listen to some Van Morrison on your new Dioko headphones from Crinacle and 7 Hertz and Sol Notes, and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.